Because this is part of the village. This is family. This is why we did this. Because if we can't be together in space with one another with
That's right.
pandemic and the whole 9 yards, we need an opportunity to be able to tell our stories. And we get an opportunity to tell our stories in the way in which we want to. Not how somebody else is dictating it, not how somebody else wants to print it, not how somebody else wants to use it for another study. It's about us being able to be in space with one another.
That's why we did this. Exactly.
Yes.
So go. Why not tell your story? Introduce yourselves.
So I'm Amelia Hayes. This is James, my husband, and Felix Hayes. So our story is a little different from everyone else's. Some people know, some don't. First of all, James and I have known Jessica since before we even got married. So in our early 20s, known her a really long time. Yeah, I met Jess before we got married. So I knew that this was coming, and I knew her for a long time. And I was working in reproductive health at an organization when I got pregnant with our first baby in 2017. And I knew pretty much right away that I wanted to have a doula. And so I had like a really like picture perfect pregnancy the first time. There's nothing really wrong. But I knew from working in reproductive healthcare and then just seeing my sister who had 2 C-sections and had some things happen in her pregnancies that I just like needed. I knew I needed extra support. And so unfortunately, we lost our first baby at 38 weeks. We were full term, and we don't have any reason why. And I don't mean to scare anybody, but this is our story. So it's just an informative thing. Yeah. So, what the first call that we made, and the only person who knew we were even afraid that something was wrong was Monique. Something just didn't feel right, and she encouraged me to go get checked. And unfortunately, our first son Theo's heart had stopped beating. And we don't have any reason why. But Jessica wasn't even supposed to be there. She was in Chicago, and the next thing I know, hours later, she's in my hospital room. She had driven.
No,
yeah.
Speed.
And we had. Sorry.
It's okay.
Take your time, girl. You good.
Because this is part of the village. This is family. This is why we did this. Because if we can't be together in space with one another with pandemic and the whole 9 yards, we need an opportunity to be able to tell our stories. And we get an opportunity to tell our stories in the way in which we want to. Not how somebody else is dictating it, not how somebody else wants to print it, not how somebody else wants to use it for another study. It's about us being able to be in space with one another.
That's why we did this. Exactly.
And so I knew that I would be okay, but we didn't have any idea what was happening. We didn't know why he had died. And it was so shocking. And I decided that I wanted to keep with my birth plan, which I don't even think I would have done had I not had ROOTT, because they were kind of forcing just this expectation that I would want to have a C-section just to kind of, I don't even think it was from a malicious place, even though a lot of other things they did were very intentionally malicious. I feel like this was just actually trying to be like, she is suffering, and we don't have any answers. Let's just get this baby out. But when I talked to Monique, she was like, you can still we can attempt to still have as close to your birth plan as you wanted, which was to go natural if I could. So we kept going and tried to have the baby sort of I was trying, but I just feel like I wasn't there. Like I was like, I cannot do this. I cannot believe this is happening. And so with the encouragement of Jessica, Mo, Christine, and even like one of the sorry.
Oh, it's fine.
With the encouragement, one of the OBGYN too was one of the nice ones. We decided to leave, and I was actually pregnant for a few more days before I ended up giving birth to Theo. So I was pregnant for like 5 extra days, but it was actually like really important for me to be able to do it, or at least attempt to do it the way that I wanted to. And most of that was just because everyone thought I was going to get too tired to continue on trying to have the birth that I wanted. And they were probably right. I mean, I was emotionally exhausted. I really had not slept, and I was physically exhausted. So we took a few days. We went to a hotel, and then we went back in on a Thursday evening, and things were like pretty slow until 2 a.m. after Jess had told Mo and Christine, like, hey, I think maybe you should go home. Like, it doesn't seem to be moving that fast. And then all of a sudden it was moving real fast. And I ended up giving birth to my son naturally the way I wanted to at 8:26 in the morning. And Jessica and Mo and Christine were able to hold him. And so was our family and some friends. It's the worst thing that's ever happened to me. And so it's like having people who not only help you in times when things go perfect, but when they don't. And it wasn't just then, it was for the years and continue now afterwards they've been family to us, but even our parents. I mean, I'm sure my mom and James's dad have reached out to Jessica more times than she even tells us, just to figure out how they could have supported us, especially like after Theo. And just yeah, it was really hard, but it was much easier having people like our ROOTT family there with us. And they really, I mean, from posting and letting people know that he had died to handling like pretty much everything for months for us. It was, I don't feel like we would have survived had we not had them. And so I took a while. I didn't get pregnant again. So I had Theo May of 2018. And I didn't get pregnant again until October of 2019 with this little cherub. Hi, Ruby.
He's bored, Joe.
He's like, what the heck are we doing? I know. And Jessica and Mo and Christine were the first people who we told. Our family didn't know for a few weeks. I was trying to keep it sort of hush hush, and I was trying to surprise them, but Jessica can tell you her reaction because Dorian almost got his head chopped off.
I know.
That's a story that we'll tell in a second. But even before that, Jessica took me to my doctor's appointment because she knew I was trying to get pregnant or wanted to attempt to get pregnant. And she was like, let's just get like everything checked. Let's just make sure that you were in like a good place to get pregnant again. And like I went with her and I didn't go with my mom. I chose to be with Jess for a lot of things, and Mo in particular. Christine wasn't my doula this time around, but to have like your second pregnancy, especially after a very traumatic one, be during a pandemic. I mean, it's like something out of a freaking like Octavia Butler book or something. I'm just like, what the heck was happening to me? Why? I don't know if I believe everything happens for a reason, but I believe you learn lessons from everything. And I'm like still learning all the lessons from all the things that have happened to us in the past few years. But, even when we were first, like when everything was first happening, like no one was wearing masks and no one had gloves. And it was just like, I felt so much anxiety going to the doctor, going and doing these things. And Jess was like, just walking me through it, her and Mo, and it just changed the trajectory of my second pregnancy, I feel. And for as much anxiety I had, I also like I knew he was going to be okay. Like I knew he was going to get here. As James says, lightning doesn't strike the same place twice. And so we were going to have our baby. And so Jess actually came over like the night before because I had been having Braxton Hicks for like weeks. And I was on my last, like I was being
Don't
I was
lie.
mad. I was just ready. I was like, I mean, and it wasn't just the uncomfortableness. It was like, just nervous. I was just like, this is, I'm waiting forever to have this baby and I just need him to be here. And she came over the night before and was essentially like, you need to relax. When you relax, the baby will come. And we ended up like dancing and watching like trash TV. Pretty sure we watched Claws, which is another inside joke for us. And the next night I was in labor because I actually calmed the F down like she told me to. And so not a bunch of like really interesting stuff happened with him, but I experienced a lot of different things, and he came into the world and he was great. And Jess and Mo really were like there every step of the way. I have pictures. They made sure that we ate and slept. It's just, for us, it's been just a totally, I can't imagine having any pregnancies without Root, but in particular, like Jess or Mo. So Mo is gonna have to come back for my next pregnancy. Sorry. I don't know if there's much else to add. We feel very grateful and we feel very blessed to have had them with both experiences, even the bad one, because it's such a huge part of our story, but now we get to have this little baby here.
Like Amelia said, working with Root, being in a relationship with y'all has been life-saving for us. And seeing everyone who's on this call right now, it makes me really excited for the future of Root as an organization too. Just thinking about what all of our families can do and all the people that Root has touched, what we can do in relationship with each other. Just thinking about how this country gives such small, such little support to people trying to raise families, in every form, from our economics and our politics to particularly for Black families, and just what we can do together to make sure our kids have everything they deserve.
Definitely.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. Yes, Felix, put that. Don't hurt nobody. Okay. Thank you. We really appreciate you. Thank you. We love you very much. Rashad, Miss Rashad.